Hello, my name is Bill Boris, and this is the video portion of the guitar lesson for Jazz Zone, The Beginning, a book written by Dick Dunscombe, who's a wonderful jazz educator. And the book and the video are aimed at high school students who are playing in a jazz band and possibly just starting out and learning how to fit into the band, what techniques to use, and how to get a different sound that will blend with the band. This, of course, is focusing on guitar, and specifically Count Basie style. Freddie Green was an incredible rhythm guitarist who played with Count Basie for years and years, and actually pioneered this style of rhythm guitar playing. The chord voicings, or notes in the chord, he used are different than rock and roll or pop chords. He used fewer notes. So a B-flat chord that you might know like this or like this. Freddie Green might play like this or just like that. And you can hear it's the same chord. But here we have the root, the seventh, and the third. And it's these type of voicings using the seventh and the third which actually define the chord, using these voices to play with the bass and drums to have kind of a blend with them. So you're really part of the bass and drums, and when you're playing with a group, feel their time and try to blend with them. Listening is really important. I'm going to demonstrate a few of the chords from old school blues and play through part of the piece. Again, this is B-flat 7, and this is E-flat 7. The B-flat remains in the bass, and it's the fifth of the chord, but here's the third, which is G, and D-flat, which is the seventh of the chord. The next new chord in the piece is G7, sharp 5. So we have G, here's the seventh, F, B is the third, and sharp 5. This is the 5, which sounds, you've heard this chord before, I'm sure. Well, this is a raised 5. And it leads well to the next chord, which is C minor 7th. Which is C, B flat, E flat, so we have the root, the seventh and the third, and F seventh, which is, I'm actually playing the fifth of the chord, which is C, A, E flat. So C minor 7th to F, I'm sure you've heard it that way. You can hear it sounds very much the same. And then C minor 7th and F13, F, E flat, A, and D, which is the 13. Getting a sound, you almost want to hear the acoustic part of the guitar, so you want to hear this going across the strings. And in strumming, I've found and read also other people say that using your arm, you're utilizing gravity, it's easier to get a steady pulse and steady time because your arm's heavy and the gravity will kind of keep it steady. So your amp shouldn't have really too much reverb. It should just be kind of a dry sound, and you should hear and feel the percussiveness of the pick. So at this time I'm going to put the metronome on 100, and I'm just going to play quarter notes to lock in. I'm just going to play a B-flat chord and try to just lock into the time. 1, 2, 3. Practice on one chord for a long time, just playing along with the metronome to get used to it. When you lock in, then practice switching just to one other chord, which is E flat in this case. And I'm trying to imagine right now what the bass and drums would sound like. So I'm going to play 12 bars of old school blues, and then I'm going to stop and change the metronome. But for now, it's quarter notes on the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. stop there, and I'm going to change the metronome and cut it in half to 50. The metronome was on 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the quarter notes. Now on 50, the metronome will be on beats 2 and 4, which is the hi-hat in a rhythm section. So when the drummer's playing, his foot is playing the hi-hat on beats 2 and 4. So this is how you can practice that feel on your own. Before I start, this is challenging if you haven't done it before. So first count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and just practice counting. And I'm going to play some of this now with the metronome on beats 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make one more change. Sometimes it can sound muddy when you're playing the E string or the A string in a chord. So now I'm just going to play the top notes, or the third and the sevenths of the chord. And this is what Freddie Green played. Sometimes he just played one note. So now I'm going to play for a while using the thirds and the sevenths, which are also called guide tones. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can still hear the chords, right? And this will keep it out of the bassist's way. So it depends on the situation, but if things sound muddy, you may just want to play the seventh and the third. This might be all new, but actually the shapes on the guitar are pretty easy to memorize and straightforward once you practice them. The next tune I'm going to play is Jazz Zone. I'll demonstrate some of the chords in Jazz Zone and then play through part of it. So the A flat sixth is this chord. And actually when I play it, I'm going to leave off the top note and just play those notes. B flat minor seventh, which has the the root, the seventh and the third. E flat 9 is a 4-note chord, and I'm going to play it because it's pretty specific, having an E flat 9 here, so I'm going to play all 4 notes. The next new chord is E flat 7, which we played in the blues a moment ago, and D diminished. So this is the most common shape for a diminished chord using A string as a root, and this is G7 flat 9. So if I play, then you hear the root, but the bass player will play the root. So we have the fifth, the third, the seventh, and the flat 9. It's changing keys, and we have C major seventh, which you might know like this. I'm going to play it like this. A minor seventh, D minor seventh. So we saw these shapes in old school blues, but it was in another key. So now I'm going to play through this with the metronome on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. back to A flat. This tune actually goes from A flat, it starts in the key of A flat, and when the D diminished chord happens and it goes to G7 flat 9, G leads to C major, and it's in C major for 6 bars, then goes back to A flat. This has been a lot of fun for me, and if you are starting in a big band, go to the source, listen to big band music, and listen to Freddie Green. He has an incredible sound and energy, and you might not notice him in a recording right away, but if he wasn't playing, you'd notice. So practice these chords with a metronome, practice the shapes, do looping, practice sections of bars that may be difficult. This This 2-bar section is a little unusual, so you might want to play that several times over and over again until it feels good. Practice it slowly and put it back in the song. When you're playing with your bandmates, listen to the bass and drums and try to really lock into the time with them so that you guys are really one unit. And think about the sound you have, think about using gravity with your arm, and that your guitar is a drum in this case. This has been a lot of fun for me. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.